Hello viewers, good evening. It is Dr. Aftab Alam, Assistant Professor of English. It is a very joyful and relaxing evening because it is the evening of Sunday. It is the holy day. The whole day I relaxed and enjoyed myself with my family member, with children and my pet. So day is very bright and regularly and gradually evening comes, and right now I am present in front of you. Today I am not in the mood of taking a class or giving you a lecture. In fact, I am going to talk with you. The talk, not only a simple talk, but the talk related to culture, history and geopolitics. In fact, I was listening a song in the noon and I remind a great poet, philosopher and the poet of the East. His name is Dr. Muhammad Iqbal. There are many controversies in reality regarding the great poet and philosopher Iqbal, but I think in the first half he was a great poet and the later half he becomes philosopher, and the critic says that he is the poet of the East, and in the final phase of his life he related to religion and Islam. But in the first time, in the first phase, when he was vocal and he was composing poetry regarding his khudi or nafs and related to the pure practice of Muslim, pure practice of Islam, on that time the Islamic scholars doesn't understand him, and many of them called him atheist, and it is a harsh reality. He faced these things in his life, and he has many great works, and his great works mostly written in Persian language and Urdu language. Now the Persian language and Persia, here the topic start, and I am going to discuss of this thing related to geopolitics. Persia, that is Iran today, a Muslim country, but later behind in the first century and before the AD, in BC, before the birth of Christ, there was a civilization, and that civilization was different, totally different from today's civilization and today practice what is happening in Iran. It is so called Iran in today, but it was Persia. And in the whole world on that time, there were only two civilizations in the universe. One civilization was the Roman civilization, and the other and last was the Persian civilization. You may call it that the whole world was divided. The whole world was divided into two kingdoms. One kingdom was Persian kingdom, and another was Roman kingdom. In simple word, we can say half of the world was ruled by Persian and half of the world was ruled by Roman. Now the things going mysterious and interesting also. The Romans belongs to Athens and later belongs to Rome, that is Italy today. And you know that where there is a society, there is a religion, because people have psychology and they need something to practice to satisfy their mind. So religion fits in that frame. For the Roman, there were many Greek goddesses and deities like Jove, Apollo, Aphrodite, Venus, Jupiter, etc. I mean, they were the worshipper of nature. And later on, they also worship the idols. And when the Jesus Christ comes revealed on the earth, they turn themselves into Christian and they become Christian. They follow Christianity. Either side of the Iran, that is the Persia, they were also the deity worshippers. They were also the worshipper of fires. They were worshipper of element of nature like river, trees, and both were connected to the Abraham. Abraham was the forefather of both, and it was belongs to Iraq. That is that is the other civilization is a civilization of Mesopotamia. We will discuss in the next lecture or next series. Now I am telling or discussing the two civilizations. One is Persian civilization and other is Roman civilization. So Persian civilization, who really was the worshipper of fire, the worshipper of river, the worshipper of ideals, now turned into a Muslim country. And I have to relate these things with Allama Iqbal or Dr. Iqbal, who wrote his poetry in Persia, in Persian language. Yeah. So the whole world was divided or ruled by two rulers, two kingdoms. One was Persian kingdom and another was Roman kingdom. Now the advent of Islam, now the start of Arabian culture or empire of Arabian empire, and it starts from the advent of Islam. When the advent of Islam, the Arabian culture become stronger and strongest, and that civilization, that Arabian civilization or empire of Arab, challenges both kingdom, Persian kingdom and the kingdom of Athens or kingdom of Rome, and they succeed. Arabian civilization or the empire of Arab empire succeed. There were many battles, there were many crusades, there were many struggles, and after a long war, a continuous war, to become more powerful, the Persian kingdom surrenders to the Arabian empire in front of Arabian empire, as well as Roman empire also surrenders in front of Arabian empire. And in this way, the Middle East creates or comes in the form of Islamic country. Now the question is that when the past is so glorious full, the past is so grandeur, the past is so beautiful, a torch bearer of knowledge and intelligentsia, the past is full of greatness, wisdom, scholarity, warrior, power. Now the current situation is so rust, facing poverty, lack of knowledge, lack of reputation, to be civilian. They don't understand be civilized. They don't understand how to be civilized. So there were great fall. So the great poet on the time, Dr. Iqbal, not on the time, but he will be great for every time, pointed out these things through his poetry, through his nazm, through his writings. And these things can't be beared by the time of Islamic scholar. And they make a fatwa against him, and he called him kafir. But Dr. Iqbal, he continued keep focusing on composing poem, writing and lecturing and doing his philosophical work. Now I am going to recite 2 lines of his poem. सिकवा है मुझे खुदा से, सिकवा है मुझे खुदा से, शिकायत नहीं है। सिकवा है मुझे खुदा से, शिकायत नहीं है ये तेरी रहमत, है ये तेरी रहमत, तू अगर रूठ गया है। It's a very paradoxical and controversial line. The first line is itself controversial and paradoxical. The poet says that सिकवा है मुझे खुदा से. Sikwa itself is a complaint. I have complained, I have directly complained the Almighty Allah, I have directly complained to the God. शिकायत नहीं है. शिकायत is also a grievance. So the poet says सिकवा है, शिकायत नहीं है. I have complained but I don't have grievances. What's the paradox? The poem electrify these lines electrify Muslims audience across India. Its bold tone was unprecedented in Urdu poetry. Iqbal follow it up with Jawab-e-Sikwa, where God replies, reminding Muslims that their decline is due to their own neglect of true faith. It's a very remarkable line. In Jawab-e-Sikwa, where God replies, reminding Muslims that their decline is due to their own neglect of true faith. Think of it. It's a very serious matter. Think over it. Thank you very much.